Welcome to Bold Moves and Real Estate Realness with your hosts, Stacy Kaplan
and Aaron Stumpf.
Today, we are diving into the topic of the Young Professionals Network, or YPN, as it's known in local, state, and national realtor organizations.
Yeah, I think everyone has their own YPN story if they've been involved with it. For me, it was a launch pad when I first got into organized real estate in 2007, 2008. I was in my late 20s, and another realtor tapped me on the shoulder to be part of this group at the Sacramento Association of REALTORS that started the YPN. In fact, it was before the state and national association started it. So we called it the Young Professionals Council for a few years in Sacramento. But it was a great springboard to learn more about what our association does. And it really, for me, set the hook into my involvement in our local, state, and national association. Stacy, was it the same for you?
It was a little different. Mine actually started at the National Association of Realtors. I think it was 2008 or 2009. And I got invited to go to a YPN networking event. And I remember being so impressed because then President Charles McMillan came and spoke to us about leadership and what it meant. And I just felt so inspired and also felt really good about being with others that were in my same age group, which back then I think was early 30s. And it took off from there with so much information and mentoring as well.
Yeah, it's amazing how YPN is so powerful for so many of us.
Well, today, to dive into this topic further, we have two very special guests. I would like to welcome Singh, who is the current president of the Sacramento Association of REALTORS and immediate past chair of the California Association of REALTORS, YPN chapter, and Nick Bailey, who's currently serving as treasurer and also local government relations chair of his association in Santa Cruz, and is the current YPN chair for the California Association of REALTORS. Breeze and Nick, welcome to our channel.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for having us.
So you're welcome, and we're so excited you're here today. Breeze, could you please lead us off with your journey? Give us a quick intro. Where do you practice? How long have you been in real estate, and how did you get involved in YPN?
So I started doing real estate in 2015. I got my license. I'll be finishing 10 years this year. And I practice in Sacramento, mostly North California area, because I have a team of 17 agents. And we do residential, commercial. For commercial, we travel like all the way to Bay Area, all the way down to Turnlock, and pretty much all the way up from there. And I got into real estate, I got into YPN when I joined my broker. My broker was part of the YPN group of our association. And the first thing he did, I joined him and he's like, okay, what are you doing on this date? You're coming to the YPN gala. And I'm like, I had no idea what was going on. He's like, just make sure that you dress up and that's all. I showed up. I enjoyed it. And next time he saw me, he's like, okay, you need to come to the YPN meeting. And he basically got me involved and he just left YPN. He's like, I'm leaving YPN. I need you to step up and be our face at YPN for our company. From there, it just took off. Like I got very heavily involved with YPN. I loved YPN. And I saw it going up and then going down, and I wanted to rebuild, make sure that one of my biggest goals was to make sure that our Sacramento chapter had never gotten the YPN of the Year award, and I wanted to have that, and I made sure that we get that. Put us in that trajectory.
Oh, that's wonderful. And Nick, tell us about your journey.
Absolutely. So I got my real estate license in 2017. I'm based in Santa Cruz County, and so I work primarily in Santa Cruz and surrounding areas. So I've been doing this about 8 years now or so. And I got involved at CAR YPN advisory board back in 2023. So now this is my third year. I was a part of it with Breeze from 2023, and I've loved every minute of it. I mean, the amount of doors it's opened for me, the amount of connections I've made, with people such as yourself has just been incredible. And it's really made me excited to grow my leadership journey and to tap into future leaders of our industry as well. And that at the heart of it, I think, is what YPN is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of times people associate the Young Professionals Network with social events and networking. And I think we all know it goes a lot deeper than that. So I think, for you, what would you say the value of YPN is for you when it comes to leadership development and maybe learning educational opportunities? Nick, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think just fostering that next generation of leadership, right? Because YPN is your foot in the door to whether it's local, state, national involvement. And so being able to have a supportive group around you that is there to kind of hold your hand, introduce you to other opportunities within our industry and within association involvement, I would say is definitely a key important takeaway for myself from YPN.
Awesome. Breeze, what about for you?
YPN is so much multifaceted. Very honestly, like it does so much for us. Like it helps us develop our leadership skills. It helps us develop our sense of belonging. Once you are part of like the YPN connection, like it helps you foster that connection and the mentorship that people like. If you reach out to somebody, they are more than willing to help you out. And with YPN, like you feel that connection. The other thing, it builds your community, and then it helps you practice your public speaking skills. I remember when I joined YPN, and like first time I asked, like our chair at that time asked me to go up on stage and give the committee our committee update on the at the main meeting. I was nervous as hell, very honestly, and I had no idea how I'm going to do it. And he said, like, just read this. I read it, and if I look back today, if I would not have done that, I don't think I would have been here. Now, I mean, I will still read stuff, but I know how to read it better in front of people. Uh, I don't, I try to engage people with eye contact and everything. And I try to create it like, I try to create it where it's captive, where I'm keeping the audience captive also. Um, so definitely it helps you bring your public speaking skills better. And I think YPN has proven that it's a leadership pipeline. Like so many people, leadership has come up from YPN. Like it, like I don't need an example. I don't need to give an example. It's already proven that it's a leadership pipeline.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Was for either one of you, was there a point where, Breeze, it sounds like you were kind of alluding to it, where you were doing something on behalf of the association for YPN and you kind of had this like aha moment, like, oh my God, I'm actually leading here. Like, it sounds like Breeze, that time on the stage, maybe it was that time for you, but do you have like, did you have this aha moment where it just really kind of hit you?
That aha moment happened when I was the subcommittee chair for our gala. And that gala, we had the highest number of people like attending it. That's the record high till now. And that was at that was the Miami Nights at the Automobile Museum. I don't know if you remember that,
You do.
but yeah, I like when I did that, that was the aha moment. Like, wow, like I just did this. Like I can, like I think this is the start.
That's so cool.
That's kind of like made me feel confident that I want to be the vice chair now.
Super cool. Nick, what about for you? Was there this like aha moment?
Absolutely. I'd say for me, it was pretty recently, being chair of CARYPN this year, being at Indian Wells and doing the opening remarks that I'd seen Breeze do many a time. And all of a sudden you're standing there and, you have a certain message you want to deliver to the group in front of, 150 people within that room. Right. And so to the point of, being more confident in your public speaking and being able to present adequately to a group like that was definitely an aha moment for myself because you get put in that position and you have to deliver, right? And you take away certain things that you'd improve on the next time. So that was definitely an aha moment.
Absolutely. Well, I feel you both on that statement about improving public speaking and having someone encourage you and stepping forward and finding this new skill that is so wonderful to be able to get up and say what you mean and deliver it confidently. So that's definitely a benefit of joining YPN. You touched on your leadership, what you each are involved in. And I know, Nick, you and I had a little chance to talk about your role as local government relations chair in Santa Cruz. And I share that same history with you. For the past 4 years, I've served in that capacity at the Santa Barbara Association. I've been very, very passionate about it. How has your leadership journey from YPN impacted your community?
Absolutely. Well, I think the foundation that YPN laid for myself in my leadership journey really allowed me to propel into other roles. And again, going back to that confidence, those connections that YPN creates for you, it allowed me to, become local government relations chair here in Santa Cruz County and go meet with mayors and go meet with supervisors and so forth with confidence. And then focus also on connecting with them. So I'd say that definitely helped propel my leadership journey.
And Breeze, do you have a similar experience?
So YPN, first of all, I always tell people that YPN stands for your professional network. It's not young professional network, it's your professional network. So everybody is invited, everybody is part of that. And I have seen, like, even at our association, we do an amazing job of being a very diverse board. I'm very proud of that. And at the same time, what I would say is we did see some disconnect between our experienced membership and the new membership, and that happens all the time. My job was to make sure that gap gets filled up and people feel that connection, like, okay, you know what, I'm part of this too. Why can help me do that? I was able to bring in, when I was the chair for the YPN, I had YPN members of my advisory board who were like in their 60s, 70s, and they were they felt very much a part of the YPN network. And I am basically using that skill over here too. Now my board feels that they are still connected. They know, they understand what's happening, what we are doing, and we can talk about everything now. There's no stuff that they feel that it's taboo, that they don't want to talk about. They feel they're being left behind. Nothing like that. Everybody is involved. Everybody understands from each other. Everybody learns from each other, and that's how you can succeed.
Absolutely. And that's so amazing to have a group that makes you feel confident and secure and connected to be able to explore the difficult topics and to make everyone feel included. So that's an amazing benefit and also just a core value of the Young Professionals Network.
Yep. True.
Yeah, definitely. Breeze, you touched on inclusion as kind of this element that you're very proud of in Sacramento. And I'm wondering if you see YPN as a pathway for greater inclusion throughout our state and national association.
YPN definitely is the amazing pathway because honestly, the youngsters of this industry have a very open mindset, have a very broad mind, and they are very inclusive also. What we can learn, what we can do is, like, at NAR, at CAR, we can use that mindset and bring them in the front for the leadership. At the same time, what we need to learn from our experienced members is how to be a little bit more tolerable. Very honestly, I think that young generation can be an unstoppable force.
Yeah. Nick, what do you think about that?
I think YPN and inclusion go hand in hand, right? I mean, this is a group of new people within our profession. And especially at the CAR level, we're from all over the state with different backgrounds and so forth. And yet we're so supportive of one another, whether it's a question or a fear or a concern. I feel like we're really kind of a family and are able to have each other's backs through that. So I think inclusion, YPN are simultaneous.
I have to say, I have loved kind of being in I will say, the middle sort of Gen X generation of graduated YPN. I know you say everyone's still welcome, But, I started there maybe 20 years ago, and I know some of the younger folks and I know a lot of the older folks. And I think that passing of information from the young to the more experienced, it really flows both ways. And it's helping to build new organizations with, a broader inclusion and it's so much more dynamic. So I just have to say, I just really appreciate that aspect of it being kind of a graduate of YPN, so to speak.
You're the sandwich in between the two generations. I
It's
feel
true.
like I feel like we're always learning from each other, right? I'm kind of sandwiched in the middle too now, right? Like I spent probably a good 10 plus years as a part of the YPN organization. And while I'm not as actively involved, definitely a supporter. But yeah, I think there's like this bidirectional information pathway that I feel is really strong that didn't used to exist when I first got involved in YPN. And I feel like that pathway of communication is just so critical because the more that we're all on the same page and understanding, and rowing in the same direction towards these common goals that we have, the better off our profession's going to be. So yeah, I think it's all critically important. So yeah, thanks for sharing all that. I think, Stacy, would you like to do a couple rapid fire questions with them?
Sure, sure. So these are just quick ones. What skill have you learned? I know you touched on the public speaking, but other than that, what skill have you learned from YPN that you use every day in your business?
Don't be
Like
afraid.
she's asking you.
Yeah.
Nick.
Yeah. A skill from YPN, I would say, is probably organization and leadership of a group, right? Whether it's clients or agents within my office, being able to keep everyone on task and kind of guide that group along, or it's certain clients that kind of need that hand holding. I'd say being able to have just a kind of detailed perspective on how we're going to approach whether it's a transaction or a certain hurdle that we have in our business is one part of it, and then staying organized throughout the process as well. I think real estate has a lot of moving parts, as we all know, so to be able to stay on track, follow an agenda, follow a process is definitely a takeaway that I've had from YPN.
Great. And what about you, Breeze?
Strategic thinking could is one. Networking and planning, that's another one. What else? How to run a meeting. That's the big one.
Mhm.
Yeah, how to
huge.
run a meeting for a committee, huge, 100%. And how to foster connections, how to belong to something. Yeah, and definitely
Wonderful.
giving back to the community.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And what would the two of you say to anyone who's thinking of joining YPN?
I would say what you're thinking about. Get a jump in. Yeah, I mean, it helps at so many levels, and I have brought up a lot of people into the YPN. In fact, our current chair for our local association, YPN, I nurtured him to come into YPN, and now he's a chair. He's like pushing himself to the to breaking all the limits, and hopefully he will be a future leader also at our board. Yeah.
I'd say it's the best decision you can make. If you're passionate about getting involved in our industry, passionate about private property rights, home ownership, and growing professionally and personally, there's no question that you should be involved in YPN.
That is a perfect note to end on. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. I know this was a quick one, but I think we got a lot out of it. Both of you are leaders in your own right. You're making differences in your community at the state and local level, perhaps national at some point. It's really exciting to watch your journey unfold and to see you two in action. So thanks for joining us with a lot of gratitude.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
And to our viewers, thanks for joining in on Bold Moves and Real Estate Realness. If you liked today's episode, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.